What's the, oh, never mind. I almost asked what the field elevation was.
Yeah.
Sea level, Brian.
It's probably 10.
I'm convinced that Hawaiians name things by starting with an H and then they just Yahtzee a bunch of vowels onto the end of it.
Anoa Palani Highway.
How's it say?
Hanoa Palani.
What's the name of the street I'm turning on?
It's Hanoa Palani, Brian.
What's the name of the street we're turning on?
We are turning on Hokiokio Place.
What street are we turning on here?
Kahai?
What?
Kahai?
Kahai?
Or Kahi?
Kahoo! This one is, it's called
Akahili.
Akahili?
Hano Kauai.
No, it doesn't. Kaka!
Kaka!
Kaka! Kapunakea?
Kapunakea.
What am I doing?
You're turning right on Lahainalua Road. We'll be turning right onto Wainihi Street. Wapapalua. Hanoa Palani for the last time. This is Kikoa Lanakilamaloa.
On this trip, we did a week in Oahu and also a week in Maui. Both were really awesome, but had significantly different things to offer. In this video, we're going to cover the Oahu portion of our trip. All right, so I'm actually on a family vacation. We've never been to Hawaii. We scheduled this trip last year, and we ended up having to cancel it because something, 2020 happened. And so, which is nice. This year, it was kind of waiting for us. So we're here. We just landed in Oahu yesterday. I found a little airport. Actually, it's a big airport. And there's a company that rents planes, does tours, all that good stuff. And so I called them up and said, I want to rent a 172.
Listen, I need a plane.
So I called them up and found they had a bunch of different planes for rent. Cirrus, Diamonds, Warriors, and I'm cheap, so I got the 172. And when I say cheap, cheap in Hawaiian dollars is not cheap in the rest of the world dollars. So it's going to be like flying a Cirrus financially, which is fine. I'll never get to do this again, so this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I'm real excited about it.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
This guy, Elon, which is not, I thought that too. Elon is a CFI who flies out of the airport, and so I assume he's going to be right seat, I'm going to be left seat.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Yeah. Hey, it's nice to meet you.
Cute.
Temperature 20, 2.18, altimeter 3006, visual approaching news, landing in the departing runway 4.
Tower, Skyhawk 90512 Foxtrot, holding short Charlie 4 left, ready for takeoff.
Go with full power. Hands on the floor. Alright, there's 40.
I might have quite a bit of trim in there.
Yeah, I can feel some up trim.
Sorry about that.
That's alright. 50. And there she goes.
Oh,
that's so smooth.
all right. Nice takeoff.
Yeah, there's definitely some trim. Where's your trim?
It's right here, sorry. Trim wheel.
So we took off from John Rogers Field in Oahu, Hawaii, and immediately you're kind of taken away by the scenery. These GoPros really don't capture it very well. The sun had just come up and you can see it kind of shining with those craters in the background. It was really beautiful.
So the memorial is right over there. So what I'll do is I'll just ask them to transition and see if we could just get a couple turns around the memorial first.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
The first plan was to fly over to Pearl Harbor and do an orbit over the USS Arizona Memorial.
Oh man, that's incredible.
The next step on the tour was downtown Honolulu. I didn't really have a picture in my head of what this might look like, but I guess I was a little bit surprised. It looks like any big city that I've ever been to, but obviously with the beach in the background, it was much more beautiful. Just past Honolulu is a really big crater called Diamond Head, and just like you, I'd assumed it was named after the heavy metal band from the 1980s. And while that's not actually true, it does have some rock and roll history. Check this out.
Yeah, so Diamond Head Crater, where Jimi Hendrix, The Doors, Janis Joplin have played in there.
Really?
Yeah, back in the day, I guess they used to use it as a venue. I was like, oh man, that would have been so nice.
Let's stop for just a second. This is a crater that in the 1970s was used to hold Woodstock-style festivals for rock bands. I can't even imagine how awesome that must have been. I was reading up on it online, and it looks like they did this for 5 or 6 years. So many amazing bands played here for thousands of people, and I guess they started to pick up some seismic activity at one point, decided they were going to discontinue having that festival. But here's a list of some of the bands that played there. It's a copy-paste mistake or two in there, but most of them were legit.
Oh my gosh. That's like, oh, TV show, movie, beach right there. Oh my God.
Yeah, that is.
Woo! Had the camera facing the wrong way for that one.
Little bit of chop. Hopefully the camera's on the wing still.
It is. Oh my gosh, that's stunning.
Unfortunately, right about here, the camera on the wing died, so I only got one camera to work with for the remainder of the flight, so bear with me.
That big island right there.
Okay. Which one of these is Rabbit Island, the big one?
Yeah, the big one's Rabbit Island.
All right, so far this is my favorite day on vacation. Water is so clear.
Didn't you just get here yesterday?
Yeah. You ever fly around up here and see sharks in the water?
Sharks? No, I've seen whales.
Have you really?
Yeah.
This little island here is called Chinaman's Hat. Interestingly enough, during low tide, it's actually possible to wade in waist-deep water from the shore to the island. We didn't do it. I just read that online. I assume it's true. So coming up here on the left are some mountains that are on the southern side of Kualoa Valley. This is also called Jurassic Valley, I think, because there used to be a lot of dinosaurs around here. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it's got to be right.
But we're the only ones crazy enough to come out this early.
Yeah, it's like noon at home, man. I woke up this morning. I woke up at like 3 o'clock, ready to go.
Yeah.
It's like,
as you know, I figured too it'd be like, okay, he's probably gonna be up anyways. And
well, when you said 6, I was like, oh no, 6 their time. That's great.
it's kind of nice because the sun isn't all the way up, and this is actually kind of mellow chop. We get it in the middle of the day. We get a lot of chop. So there's Dillingham if you want to do a touch and go.
Look at that. Okay, so which way would we land?
Typically we'd come in the other way.
You want to do a pattern in?
Yeah, let's do a left downwind for it.
What's the, oh, never mind. I almost asked what the field elevation was.
Yeah.
Sea level, Brian.
It's probably 10. What I'll do is I'd pull the power to 15.
Okay.
And pop in 1 notch of flaps, and then I just set my approach pitch, and then keep that the whole way down. So right here is good. I'd pull the power to 15. You're below 110, so you can get that first notch in.
Maybe a little more power.
Yeah, get a little bit more power in there, yeah. There you
So
go.
unfortunately, the external camera was dead, but I did get to do a touch and go at Dillingham Airport. This is a runway that just runs right along the edge of the shore. Really, really beautiful. The best I can do is you might, if you look real close, you might be able to see something beautiful in the reflection of my sunglasses. I don't know, do your best.
Transition to straight and level. Just hold it off, and hold it off, and hold it off, and hold it off. Beautiful.
There we go.
All right. I got your flaps up.
Flaps. Everything looks good.
Dillingham, Unicom, 12 Foxtrot, taking off runway 8 with a left downwind departure. Dillingham.
And so this is kind of a point that we're coming up upon. So we'll want to stay offshore a little bit.
Okay.
As you can see, that big white ball is like a radar. And it's on your sectional and stuff. It talks about electromagnetic radiation. So just to kind of try to stay out of that area, we're just kind of, as long as you're out off the water, it should be okay.
So you said as long as we're over the water, do we need to be further out?
No, yeah, as long as we're over the water, we're okay.
Okay. So what does it do? Does it mess up instruments?
I'm more concerned about our bodies.
Oh, I'm very concerned about that. Okay.
We got our kids already though, so we'll be all right.
I'm done with that. You can feel the turbulence, like it's about to, like trying to anticipate a drop.
Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel better, it's really normal.
I'm assuming it's the wind coming off these hills.
Yeah, yeah. And so, I mean, you just imagine, I mean, we're at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. You imagine at like 12 or 1 when it really heats up.
Yeah, you know when I said I would never get bored of this? I would not want to do much worse than this.
Yeah, it's, I mean, when you got like private students and you're practicing stalls and
I can't
stuff, and you
imagine.
get this gust right before you stall, and then it can be challenging, I guess.
So is that we're back on the other side now. This is the Honolulu?
Yeah, so that's basically where you guys are staying.
Okay.
Right, you're 12 o'clock, and then the airport we departed from is right past that, Kalaloa.
Okay.
So your tour is almost done.
All right, man. It's been fun. This has been awesome.
Right on.
I like doing something knowing that I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life. Like, I'll be telling my grandkids about the time I came to Hawaii and flew a little plane around it. Like,
That's awesome.
You want to come along the shoreline or just come through the water part?
We'll take the shoreline, 1-2 Foxtrot.
Okay, shoreline and report outside Camel.
Okay, shoreline and report outside Campbell, 1-2 Foxtrot.
I see a runway, a real long runway, and I see another runway that starts.
Yeah, okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
A little bit of power. And idle.
A little bit high. Keep it coming down a little bit more here.
Okay.
There you go. There you go. Now I can even it out and then hold it off. Hold it off. Nice.
Dude, this was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
This was really, really cool.
So after the flight, I joined my family at our resort. It was interesting. We were in a beachfront resort that was funded by sitting through a 90-minute timeshare presentation. I don't know if you've ever sat in one of those things, but they're pretty terrible. I will say this. If you can stomach high-pressure sales, the savings is worth it. Our room would have been $1,200 a night, but sitting through that presentation reduced it to about $200 a night, which translated to about $5,000 in savings. So I'll put up with a lot of crap to save that sort of money. And for the record, I do not currently own a timeshare in Hawaii. All right, next we rented a Jeep and decided we were going to go explore Oahu. I highly recommend getting a rent-a-car and doing this on your own. It was so cool to be able to just go drive wherever we wanted and check out some scenic spots. Driving around in the Jeep, I could not help but be constantly looking out the window because the scenery is so beautiful. Also, I was driving a motor vehicle, so looking out the window is helpful for survival, so it's just a good idea. One of our first stops was the Jurassic Valley, which I flew over earlier, and this was cool. We took a tour here and learned a whole lot about the history of the island. While we were here, we also did a tour of Kualoa Ranch and visited filming locations. There are so many movies and films that were shot in this valley. Lost, Jurassic Park, Magnum P.I., Jumanji, and so many more. It was really, really interesting to go on that tour and see a lot of the portions of the sets that they actually left there for the tour. Very interesting. You should check it out if you get a chance. So we drove around the entire island making stops at scenic spots. This here was one of our favorites. This is called the Halona Blowhole. This was created thousands of years ago when molten lava tubes were formed from volcanic eruptions. What happens is the large waves come in, they hit the shoreline, and one of the lava tubes sprays a blast of water in the air. People would gather around it and get blasted with the water. It's pretty cool. We didn't actually go down there, but it was a great place to stop and take in some of the scenery. This was a really beautiful spot. Next, we went to the Valley of the Temples Memorial Park and visited the Byoto Temple. This is actually a replica of a temple that was established in 1968 to commemorate the 100-year anniversary of the first Japanese immigrants to Hawaii. It's a very peaceful and beautiful place. It's actually in the middle of a cemetery, so it's very quiet and had a very respectful feel to it. It was a really, really pretty place. On our last night, we visited Sunset Beach, which was a spot that was highly recommended to us. This is a really beautiful spot to sit and watch the sunset and just kind of chill out and let the kids try to fight the incoming waves. All right, that wraps up the Oahu portion of our trip. If you're still with me, thanks for staying. I know this is a long video. The next video is departing from Oahu and heading over to Maui, where we spend another week doing some amazing things. It's not a lot of flying, but you know what? AirVenture's close, so we'll be back in the air in no time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Click this link to see the most recent video upload. Click this link to see a video that YouTube thinks you might like. Click this link to subscribe to my channel.